Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Toonkind D&D at 12 FPS. My name is Staria, and this is a romp for the garden. I will be playing March script as well as another character that will be introduced later. And joined with here with me today is the amazing, incredible, remarkable, awesome friend of mine. Would you please introduce yourself and your character?
O- Only one of those is correct, but thank you, Staria.
Oh,
Hello,
they're
my name
all
is
correct.
Dewp.
Don't shy. Don't shy.
Do not. I will throw flowers at you, and there's nothing you can do. Hello, my name is Dewp Kieran, DWP. I will be playing a bastard and a bean today. Which is to say, I will be playing Love is Blind and their wonderful companion, beautiful, darling little creature, except not very little, very big creature. I'll be playing Sol as well today. I
Big
have no
darling.
idea what the hell March. I have no idea what the hell March is going to do today. I have no idea what Staria's got planned today. It's going to be different and interesting for me. So
A
yeah.
funky bit of chaos. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It genuinely is.
Hey, whenever you say don't worry about it, I worry about it.
Listen. At this point, it has become it has become just me saying it. Don't worry, it's fine. I put in the shenanigans ready. You have two plant nerds in one place. Is and Soul is also here. So you know.
Too. Yeah. Stuff's gonna happen.
So
What
yeah.
kind of stuff? Are you doing?
Well, this I'm gonna say this is a bit after a bit after the FPS between March and Lao, March and Sol, and then after Lao, in which March got plant napped and carried over to Lao to Lao's place, and well, more of the what's it called?
Up to the greenhouse. You
Yeah,
got
the
secondary
greenhouse.
locations, is
Yeah,
what happened,
Martin
which
go-
tends to happen with Soul.
March
Is
has been
that
carried into the greenhouse. Then he found a surprisingly enough not so grumpy bird because apparently March fucking speed run the friendship process.
yes, you did. You absolutely look. All you had to do was look at him, and he was like, "Oh, friend shape. You are incredibly friend shape," which is unusual for Lau for people that have been listening to his FPSs. But don't worry about that. I'm sure you can put two and two together as to why, as to why this
boy,
is.
boy, howdy! I sure do wonder. So, yeah, it's a nice day outside, Lao, and I think it's like one of those rare days where Sol is actually like inside and like not vibrating and like going all over the place.
Look, if it's one of the days where Sol is actually being sedentary, there are only a few ways that Sol would be like that. Either Lao has given them a job to do, and they, in their innocent happiness of being a good use to their gardener, will just go ahead and do it because they are a good plant and they will listen to their gardener. They will be very helpful and good. Or they are sponging on the wonderful hedge bush they've got for a sofa, just soaking up some delicious treat water that Lau likes to leave out because they have done a good job. Or just to get them to sit down for like 5 minutes because please, please
Yep.
let me do my job.
Yep. And I think at some point you will hear a like knock on like on your door, but it's not like your main door, it's the door that's like from the rooftop.
Oh, so what, like from the roof access door?
Yeah, the roof access door. You just hear a like knock knock knock.
Okay. So with that, the roof access door, that's actually a staircase that goes down to the stairwells, and it doesn't actually lead into Lau's house. But because of how it's set up, he will hear this. Actually, no, I'm gonna roll perception, to see if he can hear this because he's been doing so well with that today.
Yeah,
Um,
cause that's what we do
that
in D&D. We roll shit.
that is a 10. So it's gonna take him a little bit to realise what the heck is going on.
Oh
Um,
goodness.
So I'm gonna say he's touching up some of the shrieking violets. Not the shrinking violets. These violets do not shrink away if you touch them.
They
If
just
you touch
scream.
these violets, they will scream at you, which is probably why he can't hear you because there is just a noise coming from his apartment. Yeah, March, you can definitely hear that. I'm just going to tell you right now, you can hear this.
Yeah.
Um, and
March
then
will wait patiently until the noise stops, and then he will like knock again.
you knock again, and you hear the sound of the lift on the side of the building. For those who don't know, there is a like you know those window like the window washing lifts that people uses. There's one of those outside of Lao's bedroom window that he uses to get onto the roof, and it goes up to the side of the roof, and you just hear the of it squeaking up and as it sits in, and Lao's just gonna freaking he's not in his wheelchair. He's got one specific for the office. Not for the office, for his home that he uses. It's just like an office chair. It's a lot easier to get around the apartment with. And he kind of opens the gate and closes the gate and he looks over and he sees March. And March, you're just gonna see him go from being very sort of kind of blank faced, and then he looks at you and it's just his line art just goes very light, and his eyes and his mouth just go up, and he's just like, March, oh, brilliant, wonderful, it's brilliant to see you, and he just sort of wheels himself over. He's wearing a pair of like thick tan hide gloves as he comes over to see you and says, March, oh, it's brilliant to see you. Oh, I don't understand the reason for the visit, but do come in, come downstairs, come downstairs. And he's going to try and usher you towards the lift.
March will in fact comply. I have a question. How tall is this lift? Like, is March gonna have to like crouch so he doesn't bunk his head?
Well, I say it's a lift. It's an open. It's like an open. It's like an open thing. It's not an actual lift. Let me see if I can get an image reference for you because it's the thing you see on the side of skyscrapers when
Hmm.
people are washing the windows.
Okay.
Um,
So
hang
March
on.
does
Give
not
me an
need to
idea.
crouch because,
Oh,
as
you
you
have to
all
crouch
know,
down.
March is very tall.
Also, this is built to have Soul on it, and Soul is taller than March.
Yeah, because as his rule of funny, Sol is gonna be tall.
Yes, Soul is tall. That is just how it is. There ain't no
Yep.
changing that. Um,
Sol's
but
height
yeah,
is yes.
Soul. Yes, Soul's height is yes. You put it very well. Blah. Sorry, words are hard at the moment. You put it very well. Um, yeah, you get on one of the lifts. I mean, if you do go on the lift, you get ushered down and brought into the apartment,
Hmm.
which I don't think you've been inside before, actually. So I
No,
guess you
he
can roll me
hasn't.
perception.
I sure can. This is why I have March's character sheet open, and that's a +6 to perception.
I
Because
should
March has
probably.
oh, and never mind. I was about to say March has actually decent perception now, but then again, I rolled an 8.
Oh, March. Oh, sweet cheeks. Give me a moment. I actually forgot to bring up a stat block for something because I need to bring up a stat block for this. No, why are
Fun.
you like this? But I will say with the 8, you step out and you just step into what looks like a bedroom. There's it's like half a futon and half a bedroll and then another half just a nest on the floor in the corner. To your left is like a dresser. There's in the corner there's like a little stand with a potted plant on it and some books, which is kind of what you expected. Under your feet, the feet it looks like just a thick layer of dirt is underneath your feet as you step down. It's quite squishy, but not wet. And it's also like there's little spots of green in there as well. Um, and there's just a door to your right as well. There's not a whole lot going on in here, apart from like there's green wallpaper with green vines wrapping around it. That it just looks like wallpaper. And Lao pulls himself out,
I
and
think I think the
go ahead.
reason why March rolled so low is like he got in, he saw that for like a brief second, and then Sol got in his face.
I mean, you know what? Let me roll. Let me fucking roll. Um, okay. And then what's your mod, lad? So that was an 18 for stealth, so that's a 21 for stealth for soul.
Incredible.
Um, so yeah, you do not see. You basically step into the room, and Lau just moves out of the way. He heads over towards his dresser, kind of just saying, "Oh, it's good for you to visit. Oh, I don't understand what the reason for the visit is, but I'm not going to stay away. So it's good to have you." And as he's kind of rattling off at you, you just hear, you just turn around, and then suddenly there is a giant sunflower head looking right back at you,
And
just
March
as if
like
from nowhere.
March startles for like a brief second, just like, "Oh, Sol, didn't see you there."
Uh, Sol just kind of stands there and then very slowly lifts one of their rooty legs up and does the little finger waggle at you, the little finger waggle wave, and then puts their leg down and then thwomps onto their rear and tilts their head at you, kind of curiously, and you just hear like a as the little bud they have for a tail just thumps against the ground, and I was going to turn around and say, well, did you want to stop for tea or for anything? I don't actually know why you're here, but if you wanted to stop for tea or something, I can put a cup of tea on or something, and you can roll an insight if you like.
All right, sure. I can definitely roll for insight, and if I could like write the right things. That's a 5. March. You
Gosh,
see what
Mark.
I meant? Where I use both dice. I use dice parser because both dice parser and my physical dice bully me the same way.
Man, man, that is an 8 and then a 5. Well, the 8 was for perception and the 5 was for an insight. My
I
gosh,
rolled
Marsh.
a 2 on both of them.
Baby, oh man, okay. So you don't get anything. I mean, you can kind of tell he's like a little jittery, and his line art has gone from the solid line to like very light and wispy. It's kind of like as he's moving around, there's kind of like slight little smoke trails, like clear smoke trails coming off after him as he's sort of rattling off and on. He's rummaging through his dresser drawer, and let me roll investigation for him. That is a oh cool, it's a 7. I thought it was a nat 1, it is not, and that is going to be a 9. Cool. So he does not notice, he does not find what he's looking for in there. And
I
he's just,
realize that with the absolutely garbage rolls that March has been rolling,
oh,
that does trigger a little mechanic that
oh,
yeah, I'm
ice.
gonna have to roll a d8. That's a 4. Okay, roll me perception.
For
Was it
Sol
a
and Lau,
d8? Either one of them, yeah.
I'm going to do it for Sol at the moment because Lau is kind of just effing and blind, like, oh, what the bloody hell is it? As he's going through the drawers. Sol, baby, you said perception, didn't you?
Yep, perception.
You've got a nice. Okay. 14 plus 4. That is an 18.
Let me just roll something real quick because while Morsky is gonna do sad face at me, he
Oh,
okay,
good.
18. You don't see shit.
Cool. I like that. I like that a
Cause that
lot.
was performance.
Oh, fun. Sol's just looking at you and just their tail is whapping against the floor.
Yeah, but
Um.
because that was an 18, and I don't want to just like leave you with nothing. You do see the smallest flicker of odd colors over March's outline, and like, but it doesn't seem important. He like shakes it off.
Okay. Well, Sol is kind of used to outline stuff, so yeah, nah, that's fine. Sol doesn't know. Sol doesn't know much very well. They don't know if this is normal or not, so they're just gonna shake it off, and they don't seem distressed. So yeah, they're just gonna like tilt their head, and then they're just gonna get up and they're going to walk out of the room from the door to their right. And I'm going to roll something here because actually no, I'm not going to roll because this is their house. They can do what they want. They just kind of, you see them kind of like squeeze and pop and stretch through the door like as they get through the door, because this isn't sized for soul size. This is actually sized for you probably have to duck through the door. Let's say that March, but Sol manages to get through just fine somehow. Dexterous little buddy that they are, and Lao finishes rummaging around, going, "Aha! Found it!" And he slams the dresser drawer shut. Turns around towards March and says, "Ah, well, yes. Did you want to stop for a cup of tea?" Or and he just sort of wheels himself out down down the the corridor. I will
Well,
say as
what after Lao is finally like facing him again, March will pipe up and be like just well, actually, last last time I was here, I did offer you I did offer to take you to the garden that I mentioned, and you seemed kind of excited, so I talked about it with the garden's owner, and she was willing to let you to visit if you'd like.
okay. So that was a deception roll. He
Yep.
rolled an 8, which is a 10 total to hide his excitement. It's a 10. He doesn't do very well. You do see him just like his outline goes from wispy to almost invisible. Before he shakes himself and just and as he shakes, there's like puffs of like little dust, like black dust of some sort comes off of him as he does that. And he, right, yes, a garden, you say? Well, I won't say no to a visit there. I don't think I've got anything on today. Hang on, let me just. And he's just gonna sort of cock his head and raise off into the middle distance. You're just gonna see him lift his fingers up and just kind of like count things on it, what it looks like. He's like, I've done the shrieking violets, the bear trap hasn't been done for a while, the moaning myrtles can be left for a little bit longer as well, and I don't think the lily is going to need that much care, so I think it should be good for today. Yes, it should be fine. Yes, sir! And he claps his hands and says, yes, 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 that should be perfectly fine. I've taken care of pretty much everything else, and anything else that needs to be done I can do when I get back, but yes. And yeah, he's pretty dang eager to go, and he's going to just go, so come on, we've got something to do, and you're just going to hear a crash bang boom, and coming from somewhere. Don't ask, don't worry about that. And Sol's going to come trotting back in, stick their head around the doorway corner, and just look between March and Lao.
And March is just like he's like after like waiting for Soul to like come into the room, he's just like, oh, what way you exit the building? Cause he looks up. You can assume that he went through the fucking rooftops again.
Lao's just going to blink, and then look at Sol, and then look back at March and said, well, I use the front door. Look, let me show you. And he's gonna reach towards the wall, and you're gonna see him reach and hold on to the wallpaper, which is kind of weird. But as you see him reach for what looked to be like a 2D piece of wallpaper, you're gonna see like the wallpaper shift a little bit, and out from it is gonna pop like a little vine, and you're going to see he's going to use the wall to pull himself along, and these vines, as he reaches out for another part of the wall, you're going to see the wallpaper shift and another vine pop out for him to hold on to, and he's just going to use that to pull himself around the house, and he pulls himself out of the door and just says, well, come along, I'll show you where the front door is, I'll show you where things are, and he just, yeah, leaves through the front door, and shows you where everything is. For the sake of time, I'll probably just say like he shows you you just go down a corridor. On your left is an open archway, and on the right is another open archway. On the left, it looks to be a living room. It's just full of plants and such, and on the right looks to be a kitchen of some description. You can roll perception if you want. I won't stop you, but if you wanted more details, but if we want to get going, we
I
can
can
also.
always. Okay, never mind.
So
Why do I speak?
for a basic look, yeah, you look into the left room, which looks to be a living room. There's a sofa or a bush. You can't quite tell what that is. There's an armchair and like a little coffee table that looks like it's been grown out of the ground. There are shelves upon shelves upon shelves upon shelves upon desk upon shelves of plants and weird lamps that also appear to be plants. There's a huge wall on the left that is just glass. And as you look over, it's probably quite chilly still, but it gets like a nice cold light in from the morning sun. And on your right in the kitchen, large table, countertops going all around the room, except they stop suddenly on the right hand side, and then there's just a door there. You presume that's like a pantry or a closet or some sort. There are a few chairs, and above one of the countertops on your left, there is just a window facing out into an open corridor. And yeah, that's Lau's apartment in a cinch. There is more, but like it's
I rolled a 10, yeah.
Yeah. But he's just gonna pull himself over to his wheelchair by the front door, which is usually where he stores it, and he is going to. Give me a moment. I need to figure out what to roll for this because he needs to get himself from one chair to another, and I'm going to give him the help action because Sol is going to help him with that. And where are we at? You know what? I'm going to be athletic. I'm going to be mean. I'm going to make him roll athletics.
Oh my god.
And that was an 11, but with advantage from Sol. Okay, it's an 11. It's an 11.
March, can March help with his athletics?
If you want. I mean, with that, we'll just say he gets into there with very little issue then.
Yeah.
Damn! Okay. Yeah, 25. So you see Lao trying to lift himself from this chair to the other chair, and then you see Sol trying to help him, but Sol is kind of just getting in the way more than they're helping, and Lao's just saying, "Oh, you silly thing, I'll be alright, just get out of the way and I can actually get into the chair." And I don't know how what March would do.
Like, March will just, like, try help him, like support, so, like, Lao could, like, get in the other chair just fine.
Okay. As you do, I won't make you roll for this. You can feel as you pick him up. Actually, roll me a perception
Sure,
quickly.
because I can roll. I can roll dice. Oh my god, I actually
Oh,
rolled well.
I can't believe you're the one that gets this. Okay, so you pick up Lao, or you at least assist Lao from the chair, and as he gets up, you can tell he can walk. It looks like he doesn't look like as he gets up, he kind of sinks down a little bit before leaning on you a bit and straightening up, and you. It's kind of hard to hear, but you do hear like a noise as
The fuck
Lao.
does that mean? That's
Don't worry about it. As
terrifying.
Lao walks towards his chair. And yeah, he just sits down in the chair, slumps to the side, and says, I thank you for the assistance. It was welcome. And he kind of looks over at Sol and says, Sol, next time when I tell you to stand back, I mean stand back. Do you understand me? And Sol just looks at Lao and then looks at March and then looks at Lao and just puts their head to the side in confusion. And Lao's gonna sigh and say, oh, fine, alright, fine. Well, I suppose we should be getting going then. And Lao's just gonna push the door open, which looks very thick and heavy, but Laos doesn't seem to have an issue just pushing it open. And he's gonna
Tunes, baby.
Tunes, baby.
It's how
And
we
yeah,
be.
Yeah, he's gonna just gesture you onwards and outwards. I suppose we should be getting going then. Um, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and now that we're outside, Mart would just be like, um, well, now we need to actually get to the teleportation circle center because, well, the garden is in Ghibli. So, if we,
Uh, please
and
continue. I'm just making noises.
yeah, and I think, do you want do you want to be mean? Do you want to like make all of them roll fucking
Absolutely. That's survival.
survival?
Oh, hang on. Huh. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah,
So
survival time. Morsky's favorite roll. That's a
that
4.
a 5 and a 12. So Lao got a 5 and Sol got a 12. Okay. Well, not total, that's just what they rolled. So 5 plus 4, and then 12 plus 4. Uh, So, oh my gosh, of course. I can't believe it's Sol that knows where they're going, but
Yeah,
of
I was
course
about to
so.
say it's out of all of them, it's the plant horse, who knows where to go.
Look,
Probably because Soul does like go around everywhere.
Sol
Uh,
gets around. They are a curious little bugger, and they will go into every single space they can find. And you know what? They may have even actually probably used one of these before. Don't worry about how or why, but just know that that's probably a thing they've done.
yep,
Um,
that's what I fucking thought. You funky plant thing.
um. So yeah, Now's just probably gonna be muttering like, oh, right, I used this to get from Willowby to here, but I don't remember how did I. And he's just gonna sort of roll himself along and think about it. Oh, you got 4. Oh
Yeah,
man,
Marty's just
you're even
like
more lost now.
Marty's just like I think it's in this general direction. Maybe.
I
Sorry,
want to
I'm.
say, I want to say, like March starts to go one way down the road, and then Lao goes another way down the road, and then Sol's just standing there, and then they just stand up on their back legs and just go. Put one rooty hand on each of their shoulders, snap it back to their side, and then, well, I mean, they roll Lao back very quickly, and I was like, Soul, would you stop? And then just gently pushes them forward and just nudges them, and then goes to lead the way.
How do you know where it is? And
um,
March did like is like just talking like to Saul.
well, Soul seems to have some idea, and Lao's just gonna wave a hand in front of them, and Soul's gonna sort of like spring up onto their little tippy toes of their roots and boing 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 and head on off. In a steady little trot. Easy enough to follow.
Amazing.
Yeah.
You know, I think March has a question about Saul. So
Mm.
March is just gonna be, does Saul know how to communicate? I guess would be the right word.
Um Lao's gonna look back at you and squint and say, define communicate.
Well, I don't know if, well, there's verbal speech, there is sign language, um, and he just like sort of like gestures with like hands.
Hmm.
There's
No, go ahead, sorry.
yeah, that's all I had because
Okay. It can be hard to read sometimes. Yeah, so Lao's just kind of look at him and then squint and tilt his head at Sol, who is just merrily trotting along down the sidewalk. who also completely does not notice that they are just on occasion barging people out of the way, either into the middle of the road where they miraculously miss being hit by a car, don't worry about that, or just get smushed against the side of a brick wall as they go going
Goodness.
along. One person probably also just falls into a patch of tomatoes from a marketplace staller. Don't worry about that. We'll just go past that. It's fine. But
Goodness.
as you continue on, Lao's just going to say, I'm not entirely certain in terms of communication. Though they can't speak, for one, they don't have a mouth. They don't have any sort of telepathy, or if they do communicate, it's certainly not through words. And, well, you can roll insight if you want, whilst he's continuing on. It's. I've never seen them use any sort of sign language, at least as far as I'm aware. And
11.
they
God
didn't.
damn it.
Oh, an 11. Okay. You can just see he's kind of. It's not something. It doesn't seem like something he's thought about. You can tell. He's just kind of. He just tilts his head. It's just something that you brought up to him that he hasn't thought about before. He's like, well, I've never had the need to. Well, I've never really had to teach them sign. I've always known what they meant and what they wanted, so he just shrugs and says there doesn't seem to be much of a point, and they don't seem particularly interested either, he says, pointing forwards, and yet again, Sol is just kind of picking up a grapefruit and doing a weird kind of head tilt and just tipping it around, examining it from all angles, and says, Sol tends to find a way of communicating just fine, regardless of verbal or physical, or at least sign aspects. And
Well, that's fair.
I will say with the 11 though, as you keep going on, heading towards the teleportation circle, Lao does look like he's in thought as you come on, as you keep going in. And I don't know if there was anything else you wanted to discuss, but we could just
No,
say we
that
get
was just like a question that came up to but like March had.
March
If
has already
Lao
had.
wants to ask March something, uh
Mm.
the stage is yours.
Man, that is a good question. I'm trying to think of what Lao would do here, because nobody asked.
Cause
Um,
March did ask a question. It's alright if he asks one back.
it's not a matter of whether he would think it's okay. It's a matter of what the hell he would ask. Um, you know what? He probably he. You know what? I need to roll something. Give me a moment. Where's your charisma, mate? Oh, huh. Okay, that's your charisma. Oh, that is an 8 plus 4. That is a 12. That's not bad. So he's not going to fungal this too badly. Then he's just going to turn towards. He's just going to turn towards March and say, "So, how have you been? How have you been doing recently? I know you've been probably busy with Animus and such, and just wondering how you are." He's just going to ask you how you are.
March is just like, oh, it's been going pretty well. Mine and my brother's birthdays were some time ago. Um, and well, surprisingly enough, not much has happened in terms of you know, plot shenanigans, as Lynn would say.
um, Lao's just going to tilt his head at that and slowly nod. Right, yes, of course. Plot shenanigans. Well, I'm glad at least it was uneventful for the most part, and that you're hearty and hale as you are. And he's just going to kind of give like a very quick grin and gesture up and down at March. You seem to be doing all right as you are, and it's good to hear that you and your brother are doing all right. I'm gonna roll something.
March will respond like, yes, we are. Thank you for the concern.
Oh, it's not concern necessarily, and I'm gonna roll Let's see. Sorry, I'm making a few rolls. Okay, buddy. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay, buddy. That's a 3+2 for your performance.
Oh my god. Buddy,
You're
buddy.
a silly man. He's gonna try and save face and say, "Oh no, I wasn't worried. It's not concern or worry or anything like that." But he's overselling it. He's like, "Oh no, I wasn't worried or concerned. I was just asking a question. That's what you do when you talk to people. You just ask questions and such, and it's just a natural part of conversation." And he's probably gonna babble quite a bit. Keep going.
There is like the anime like sweat drop behind Marge.
This man is so awkward.
Because
Okay?
Marge has learned from Hugh more than just like he learned a lot of Toon mannerisms from Hugh.
Picked up a lot of body language from your brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I would say enough time passes for them to get to the teleportation circle then, eh?
Yep.
Yeah.
So they're at the teleportation circle center, whatever the fuck. And yeah, you go to the one that's going to Ghibli, to Chihiro. Because I'm
Give me a
pretty sure
moment.
that's the one that's near. Yeah,
Uh,
it's near
oh,
Chihiro. I don't have the energy to pull up the map. If it's not
you.
Dabs, too bad. Um
Cool. I just did a quick intelligence check for Soul because in areas such as this where things need to be done properly, Soul tends to have a habit of not doing that. So luckily we got an 18, which is we got 19 -1. So Soul does not immediately try to dig or scratch at the ruin marks on the floor for the transportation circles. Thank you very much, lad. And
Goodness.
they just listen. They just stare very intently at the magical circles and at the people manning the magical circles, and then at the people coming out and in of the magical circles.
With that
Um,
high of a roll, I would say you Soul also knows which one is leading to Chihiro and Ghibli. Because that was a
oh
high roll.
yes, somehow with that 19, Soul kind of is like scooching along the floor, like their head and neck are down on the floor, and the rest of their body is high up, and they're just scooching along the floor. And then they stop at one teleportation circle, and you just hear the they have their like feet tapping outside the beginning of a circle. I'm just gonna say for flavor's sake, this teleportation circle probably has like little flowers and designs in it, because it's heading to a
Totally.
garden, and it
It's
would be really
well,
cute.
it's going to Ghibli, so yeah,
Ah, all right,
going for like one of the big cities in Ghibli.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Sol's just gonna stop by that then, and just go tap at it, and then look back at Lao March and back at the circle, and back at Lao March, back at the circle, and just tap at it rapidly. I don't, I don't think a teleportation clerk would kind of like this. They'd probably turn towards Lao and March, give him a bit of a dirty look, and say, "Hey, do you mind controlling your animal, please? You shouldn't be slapping the circles." And I'm gonna roll. Oh, good, that one. Thank you, buddy. That was an intimidation to try and get them to back off, and you just rolled a 3. You are not intimidating at all, sir.
Goodness.
So Lau just kind of looks back at this guy, and you can see his outline go a little spiky and glare, and he says, "I'd appreciate that you not call them a creature or a beast. They're not doing any harm." But he's not very intimidating,
March
unfortunately. He
is,
just
I think March is like immediately just like nope, just like trying to diffuse the situation. It's like it's all right, it's all right. They're not doing any harm. Also, please don't call them an animal. They are a friend.
Yeah, friend. Sure. Okay, you and your plant thing, get on the teleportation circle, leaving for Ghibli in 2, alright? And they're just gonna kind of shuffle off back to another
Hey,
point.
does a
And
17 work well as a performance slash intimidation?
um, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to intimidate?
Well, I use performance as a March getting into role. So it's basically March just like sort of stares down this person because like he gave you a warning. He told you not to, and then you immediately dismissed it.
Um, you know what?
He's
That
not
is
doing
pretty
anything.
high
He's just
level.
like he's just a disapproving glare.
Okay. All right, it's an FPS. Yeah, I'll let this. So you give this glare. You like, I just imagine March straightens up to full height, sort of broadens his shoulders, and then just looks over at this guy as he's retreating. As the guy makes his way over to a secondary point and just looks back at you guys, he looks at you, March, and just you can see him just go and roll his eyes and like, all right, yeah, I'll behave myself, kid. You guys enjoy your trip to Ghibli. And he just stomps a foot, and the circle lights up. And unless there was anything you wanted to do before, you guys are off.
Yep, we're off. And also,
Also,
at some point, this person will realize, hey, wait, that was an actor. That was a very popular actor in
uh,
the studios that just stared him down.
I mean, you know what? I'm gonna roll for that because that is just a common person who just that's a straight 11. It will take them probably a good half an hour. They probably go on their break and just have a sip of cup of coffee, and then they're like and they choke on their coffee like, oh shit, there was one of the actors from Stoner Studios. Oh, pick.
Yeah.
Put a hand on his head and go, oh, pick. Don't put me on the engineer's hit list, please, for the love of God. I know how that guy gets around his actors. And then he cut away.
Yep, and we cut away, and we never mentioned this again.
It never comes up again.
It never
Also,
comes up again.
I will say, with the 16 and 17, because this guy works in public transport, he has dealt with a lot of grumpy, upset people. So he didn't have quite as bad. If you rolled an at 20, the intimidation would have, like, that intimidation roll would have been pecking perfect. But because this guy works in public centres, and anyone that's worked in public services will know, you have to put up with a lot of kinds of different people in a
Yep,
lot of kinds of different ways.
yep. That definitely valid. It's just like
He
don't
does.
disrespect his friend. Don't
Um,
disrespect
but
March's
anyway,
friend.
we're coming away from this guy now.
Yeah. Now, that was a side plot, but yeah, but
We'll follow up on that one day, maybe. Who knows?
maybe, probably not.
Anyway, we
Yep,
seen away to Ghibli, and with that,
we're in Ghibli, and well,
I'm gonna.
we're not staying in Chihiro. In fact, March will lead to a nearby forest, and there is a pretty nicely paved road, but you can tell without rolling much of anything that it's fairly new, but like it's in the recent year new.
Yeah. Sorry, before we keep going, I'm just rolling a deck save for them going through teleportation circles because they don't do it very often. Um, Lao rolled a 17,
Okay, that's
um,
good.
and Sol rolled a 6.
Oh, honey,
Oh, mate.
honey,
Um,
honey.
so just before we scene on as they land, I mean Lao's kind of in his chair, so his chair just lands with a thunk, straight down, wheels down, completely fine. Sol, somehow You know, as you travel through the weird teleportation stream, it's just Soul's been doing like weird flips and stuff because oh, this is fun, and then they just kind of land belly first with a poof, all legs stretched out akimbo onto this circle.
I can do a dex save for March as well.
Okay.
That's
This is
plus
just
5.
for
That's a
flavor.
23. March is as graceful as ever.
You land on point ballerina style.
Almost, yeah. But yeah, he's doing fine.
Anyway, let us cut back to
Yeah.
travel to the garden.
Yeah, we're finally getting close to the garden after how much time? Uh, 45 minutes. But yeah,
Bit.
we're getting near the garden. The place you see the road is like pretty newly paved as like in the last year it has been made. And from what I think you rolled history for that tidbit, but for the fact that the garden appeared recently after 25 years of not being there at all.
Lao is very excited. Do you know what? Can I roll a history to see if he knows this?
I'm pretty sure you've rolled that already, but sure you can roll again.
Um, oh, I might have rolled it outside of the game. You know what? I'll just go with that then. Yeah, he knows. He knows that this is a garden that's disappeared and come back after 25 years. And I'm gonna roll another thing. What was that, mate? Oh, goody! Oh, goody! That was another net one.
Oh boy.
Cool. March, you don't have to roll perception for this. Lao is vibrating in his seat. You can just see him. You can just hear like a sort of coming from next to you. And if you turn to look towards Lao, you can see his outline is just kind of like vibrating, and it's gone. It was like what it was when you showed up, but even lighter. And there's more smoke coming off of him now. This is like clearly visible, like little puffs of black powder smoke coming
We're
off of
just
him.
like concerned some a bit, but like he's not gonna say anything because obviously he is excited, but also is that normal? He's not gonna ask, but also, huh?
I mean, Soul doesn't look concerned, so
Yeah, Saul doesn't look concerned, but also Saul didn't look concerned when March had when March's outline glitched.
true, very true. Um, so yeah, now is a normal amount of excited
Definitely.
as they make as they make their way over. Um, did you want me to roll perception for them as we come up
Sure,
to the garden?
sure. Roll your perception.
I think they have the same modifier. Do you not? You got a 2. Oh no, you've got a better one. Okay, let's do Lao first. And that is okay. That's a 17. Um, and so
Considering the fact that
uh, oh baby.
they're both wisdom casters, I would assume they would have a decent wisdom.
So first one is Lao, second one is Sol. Lao gets a 17. Sol has a whole 7.
Amazing. Yeah. Wow, you're getting okay. So we're in the garden now. Funky garden, fun, funky garden, lots of flowers.
More
Um,
plants. Plant prints.
plants.
More
Yep.
plants. That's
So,
noisy.
yeah. Not so. Lao. Wow, this place is both big, like real big, and also there are lots of different kinds of plants, many of which you're not sure actually exist. And uh, roll the Arcana.
Okay, I'm gonna roll Arcana and then I'm gonna roll something else as well. Um, wow, thanks, Lao. That is a whole. What's your Arcana mod, mate? Yeah, that's a 4. That's a whole 4. Thanks, mate. Thanks so much for that. Good job. Well done.
Sorry, you don't get much. You're too excited to like notice anything. It sure is a big, wonderful garden.
Yeah, he's vibrating out of his gosh dang seat. There are too many things to look at here. You know what? I'm just gonna check his spells quickly. Do you have the thing I think you have? I don't think you do. No, you don't. But I am gonna roll for something.
Let me
Cool.
guess.
That is a
Was
7 for hammer space.
let me guess. You
And
you tried to get you try to see if you have detect magic.
um, I was, and then I changed my mind because I think I don't think he would actually cast that here. He is too excited. He might cast that though at some point. I'll give that a moment. Okay, cool. So I roll a 7 for hammer space, and he reaches underneath his blanket, and he pulls out, like a large matchbox. Like it's almost as big as his hand, and you can roll perception on this as he does something here. I'm gonna try. He can't roll sleight of hand at the moment. He's just gonna do this. Cool.
That was a
That's almost a nat
19
20.
plus 6. That's a
Wow.
25.
Damn. Okay. You can tell this is this is. It looks like a repurposed card box, like a box that holds a stack of cards. And as Lao kind of very shakily handed, like pulls the slot out from the cardboard sleeve and picks something out, you can see the thing he picks out is like a black stick. And you can tell from the smell as well. It smells like burnt woods, like something you'd find from a fireplace. And you can give a guess that that's probably charcoal. And Lao is just. I'm gonna have to roll a sleight of hand here because he is going to try and. What was that? Of course, cool. That is a 5. Why are you doing this, mate? Um, you can see now. I mean, this makes sense because he is shaking quite rapidly now. You can see him try and hold this stick to his outline, and then just sort of try and fill it in, like at least redraw his outline. Because most of the black stuff, you see that most of the black stuff that's come off him is still coming off of him. As it's coming off, his outline is also fading. So he's just seeming to try and like fill it back in with this stick of charcoal, but his hand is shaking a lot. And as he does this, it kind of like it does stick, but his outline has gone a bit weird and not very shape.
Do you need help?
He looks over at you and says, I may need appreciate, and he is shaking too much to actually say anything at the moment. I am going to roll something here. Wow, Sol, come on. No, I'm rolling with advantage. No, you are not getting a nat 1 on this insight. This is what. Come on.
Oh my
Thank
goodness.
you. That's an 11. Okay, so that's an 11 plus
Rattles the
4.
dice.
That is on insight for Sol. Sol's going to turn around after just noticing all these planty bits, turn back towards Lao, sees him struggling with this, and you just hear like a ting, like Solid Snake alert comes above their head, like exclamation, and they very quickly trot over, and they are going to give Lao the help action by very gently reaching their roots out and holding the arm that's trying to draw, and they're just going to try very slowly to help them draw it back in. Oh my word. No.
Get another help action. March is also trying to help.
Okay,
Get
so
another
my first
advantage.
one was, for the recording, I'm rolling with Lau's stats. That was a 4.
Cut.
18! That's what I want. Thank you. 18 for sleight. So with both with both March and Sol holding onto Lao's arm, they help it steady enough that he can draw the outline on his left arm back in, and as he does so, the shaking starts to settle a little bit more. And once he's filled out around the arm, he very quickly puts the charcoal in that hand and fills out the rest of himself very quickly. And he sighs and says, "Thank you both for the assistance. My apologies, March. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to get that excited." And he's finished off this stick of charcoal. By the time he's done, the stick of charcoal is gone, and his whole outline is it's still light, but there's no longer black puffs coming off of him. It's just yeah, let me change that on the sheet. It's just, you know, it's just a normal black outline, slightly fainter, and says, my apologies for that, March. I got a bit ahead of myself. Thank you for the assistance, Sol. Thank you for your help." And Sol just perks up, wiggle, 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 and gets a couple of pats from Lao. He just says, "Right."
Are you alright?
And he looks at you and says, "Yes, I'm fine. It happens on occasion. It's fine. I've sorted myself. It's all right." And he just keeps on going. He's just gonna, like, he's not gonna hang around. He's gonna keep going on past you.
March nods, but like not very convinced.
I mean, you can roll a medicine if you want.
Sure, I can roll a medicine, but also March points at Lynn. Points at Lynn. Points at the shit March had to do with Lynn.
Oh, March, sweetie.
Medicine, this is a straight 20. That's a 6.
Nope. Yeah, seems fine.
Yeah, seems
Like,
fine. But
seems to deal with it.
But also,
It's
March
fine.
is still not convinced because he's had experience.
Sorry, it's fine. He's fine.
No, it's not.
Like, look, he's sorted it. It's sorted now. We can continue. We can continue to look at the plants.
So was Lynn's outline when she had gold dust.
Oh, that's okay though. Don't worry. It's okay.
Yeah.
So we're an hour in, and we've just gotten to the garden, everyone.
Yep. Let me just check if we have anybody after us.
I don't think so. We're clear for the day.
Okay, yeah, this might be a longer FPS.
Yes.
Goodness. But yeah, how about all of us roll perception real quick?
Sol.
All of us.
All of us. Oh, cool.
That's a 21 from March.
That is wait, what's your perception, lad? I just looked at your perception. So that is a 13 from now. And so you've got a +4, I believe, Vladdy. Let's have a look. If I can get your stats to where I want them to be. Yes, you do. Boop. Oh, yeah, that's a 9. That's a 9. Okay. Right, that's a 13 for Lao and a 9 for Sol total.
Yep, okay, and let me just roll a perception for one other person.
Ooh.
Yep, I think that's a good enough roll, considering the modifier is a +12.
Oh, damn. Yeah, I'd say it's a pretty damn good roll.
And, well, March notices first, and, he's just like, and, as he looks, he's just like, "Oh, Aroma!" And, if it will just, there we go. And, well, you all see a, well, 7 foot 2 inches tall, real kind of warforged made out of pink purple porcelain, which seems to be cracked all over the place, but it seems fine. She has she has four arms, and where her head is, you don't see her face. You see a big sun hat made out of porcelain, and from it is um what seems to be lots of flowers that are like coming from the top of the hat down and covering everything, like covering her what you would assume to be her face and like neck until like yeah.
Yeah.
So he just sort of steps in and she's just like, "Oh, Marge, darling." And oh, are these your guests? Hello.
Um, hang on. I've got to roll another thing. Oh, come on. What's your mod again, mate? Let me see. Okay, cool. Please, please, please. No! Damn it! It's a 6!
Goodness.
It's a 6 on his
Oh my god. Darling.
March! I'm gonna just look to your side and oh, he's shaking again! He's shaking again! Fucking hell, Lao! He's looking up at this person, and his hands are pressed into a prayer pose just before his beak, and his eyes are very wide, and his outline is again like it's lightened again, and there are slight puffs of black again coming off of him. Not as bad as it was before, but they are still puffing out. And he says, "Ah, it's good to meet you. I presume this is your garden." And he's just gonna gesture out around him and says, it's wonderful to meet you. My name is Lao is Blind," and he's just gonna stick a hand out very quickly and say, "It's a pleasure to meet you. And I thank you for letting us browse, have a look around your very wonderful garden." And his head's just gonna tilt from side to side to side to side to side, in a move very reminiscent of Sol. And he's just gonna be so excited. He's just so excited. I'm gonna roll another thing whilst this is going on as well. Don't worry about that roll though.
Uh, while uh, while Lao is quite starstruck, Aroma's just like, it is a pleasure to meet you too. No need for the manners. My name is Aroma, and yes, you will be indeed right. This is in fact my garden. And she will turn to March again. Just Stoke is currently in the library, so he is unavailable. And March kind of like, not just like, is he alright? Is he? She's like, yes, he's doing much better. Recovery is very good. I completely butchered that sentence, but yes, basically
You're
he's doing
valid, and I
better.
pat you. I pat you so much, Staria. You're doing so good. You're
Thank you.
so good. So now will kind of perk up, or at least twitch, at the sound of recovery, and he's still excited, but there are no longer black puffs of what you now know to be charcoal coming off of him, and he kind of looks between you two, and says, "Well, I didn't mean to interrupt, but did you say recovery?"
Yes, but please do not worry. It is an old injury.
Hmm.
We are both well on our way to our old strength.
I'm gonna roll insight. He's gonna squint at this lady like, you sure about that? Nope, that was in the way. Roll again. Okay, it's a 12. 8 plus 4. Not bad.
She
Uh,
is very sincere about the fact that they're both doing well recovery. You're not sure what the source was. You're not sure why they were both hurt and need recovery. But
mm,
she is telling the truth about the fact that it's an old injury.
okay. Nell's just gonna like nod very seriously and say, "Well, I know a thing or two about living with old injuries, so I am, however, a cleric. So if anything should develop in a direction that's um, not so ideal, I am available if you would so need um, someone to assist in such matters." And whilst he's doing that, I'm gonna roll this.
And as as um as Lao says that he's a cleric, Aroma will like perk up a bit, just like, oh, a cleric. Well, you two would get along just fine then.
Um, so he's gonna back up and say, "Oh, he's a fellow cleric. Ah, well, I suppose if there's also a fellow cleric, well, on one hand, as a fellow cleric, they would know what they need to do. On the other hand, as a fellow cleric, well, actually doing that, I mean, doctors do make the worst patients after all. I suppose it'd be more difficult to actually get them to do what they need to do on occasion." And he's just gonna kind of rumble off, rattle off kind of awkwardly.
And
As he keeps.
she chuckles at that, and she says, "Well, that is why I am also here."
Oh, it's good that they have someone to take care of them at least. I'm sure that, well, I should hope that you know what you're doing with your conditions. It seems if you've had them long enough, then you know what you're doing and how to deal with them. But again, should you need the assistance, he gestures his arms out wide. I am happy to assist. And he kind of sort of looks around the garden and says, "Although I really do have to admit, your garden is excellently cared for." And I'm going to roll a nature.
Sure, roll me nature and also another arcana.
Why are you rolling like this?
Roll
My
with
dice are
advantage.
bullying me.
Roll with advantage,
Right.
damn it.
Okay. That was a 2 for nature.
God damn it.
Oh, that's a 16. That is, in fact, a 22 for
Yes.
nature. Thank you, Lao.
Finally,
Then,
good rolls.
finally, I just have to shout at them. Arcana, I don't think he's got any pluses in that. No, he's got +2. So he gets a 13 in Arcana.
Okay, I'll just do a combination of the two because that was real good nature and a decent arcana. Well, from that arcana, wow, this whole place is magical as fuck. Like, damn. Like even the ground itself is saturated with magic and like different kinds of magic. Like, there's druid magic, yes, but there's also divine magic and a little bit of like other magic you can't really get a hold of. You don't like know what is the third kind of magic, but yeah. And with nature, you realize all of that magic is coming from a source, a single point source, which, well, it is actually, you don't really know how you, missed it before, but, there is this enormous tree in the middle of the garden that is just radiating magic. It is frankly
Big ass.
quite beautiful. It is big, it is, and like, yeah.
Big ass, beautiful magic tree.
Yeah, and
Now is looking. Now
yeah.
is looking. Now is looking with respect. Man, oh gosh, I've got to roll whiz save for him. I've also got to roll another thing for Sol, because do you want to roll me a quick perception?
Sure. March or Aroma.
Both if you want. It's up to
Okay,
you.
so that's March
Oh, that's
14,
it. Oh, that's a 23 for
and that's a 30 for
save.
Aroma.
Cool. Well, you didn't really have to roll high to notice this. But hey, you March, you look around and Aroma, you probably already know what's been happening while this has been going on. Sol's gone. Sol is not here. Sol's poof gone, not here anymore. Bye bye. And Lao actually rolled pretty damn high on his whiz save. That was a how high was that? Yeah, that was a 23 for whiz save. So he doesn't immediately run up to this tree and start poking it. But he does take a very slow circle around this place. Like I don't are we in like a clearing at the moment?
Oh, well, there's plants. There's like plants and bushes and like stuff everywhere, but there is a bit of like there are like a bit like more clear roads for like easier for so people could like go around easier. There's
Like dirt pathways and
there are
such, like
pathways,
the ones
but
you get in the big glass house,
yeah.
greenhouses sort of.
Hmm.
Yeah. Sweet, cool. So yeah, he's just kind of making his way through there. And Aroma and March. I mean, I rolled a nat one for their soul stealth earlier. You
Goodness.
definitely hear like a shuffling in the bushes from. I don't know where they would have headed, but there's a shuffling in the bushes where shuffling should not be.
And Aroma is just like, oh dear, you haven't, I haven't warned them about the, and she will just, like head off to where Soul is.
Um,
And Soul, while you're at it, roll me the funny number. Roll me a D69 because I'm mature like that.
cool, cool, cool. Give me a second. I'm going to use my physical percentile dice for this, and then a d10 just to
Well,
see what
roll
happens.
roll roll the
On
in
zone.
and dice person because it's a
No,
69, not D100.
fair enough. Uh, give me the giggly. 11.
11. Uh, Soul. Oh my God. Oh goodness.
Oh, what?
Soul. For the next minute. Well, okay. First of all, you suddenly feel much lighter.
Oh
Uh,
no.
Gravity
Oh
decreases in you, and you can do moon jumps for the next minute.
no. Oh no. Staria. Staria?
Yeah.
Staria? Do you know that Soul has a spell called Jump? Oh
Yeah.
no! I just imagined
Yeah.
this. Soul goes through the bushes and they come back out, and as they come trotting back out, they just start trotting off of the ground. Like you'd imagine a reindeer that if reindeers could fly, they'd probably do it like this. They just start walking on the air, and they stop just like halfway up, and they look down, and they look at their feet. They lift their front claws up. Um, then they kind of look down again, and as they look down, you just hear a noise because they did not realize they could do that. I'm gonna roll an acrobatics to see how well they handle falling from that height. Hey,
Well,
hey,
it is
hey.
a. You probably aren't gonna be that hurt. I'm gonna say.
Fair enough. Just land in another flower bush. They just pull off of
God,
it.
that's gonna make you roll another one.
Do you want me to roll again? I'll roll
Yes,
again.
roll again. Roll again.
Oh my words. Well, that's no, that's not. Ignore that one. There was no D. 5. While that's
25.
happening, I'm going to roll another perception for Lars, see if he knows what the hell is going on.
Soul, you're now glowing. You are a glow stick.
Yes!
You are now bioluminescent
Oh my
as
word.
Peck, glowing
It's just
flower.
bright yellow flower with bright green body just
Yep, just
boinging
fucking
above.
neon colors, glowing
I'm
like a
just,
neon sign.
oh my word. So that was a 8 plus 4. No, that was an 8 plus 2. That's a 10 for perception. But I'm gonna say, considering what Sol is going to do now, um,
And
I'm gonna say, um,
goodness,
Lao, meanwhile, while March and Aroma have been going off trying to find Sol, Lao's just kind of been looking at all the plants around here and admiring all of it, and he is probably just about to reach for his hammer space under the blanket before he hears a boing, and he looks up, and just jumping above the tree line is a very bright glowing shape, and he can see waggling feet underneath, flailing happily in the air. And Sol jumps over the tree line, bright yellow and green, and just there's like a moment, there's a pause, like a bit of slow mo, as Sol turns towards Lao and just lifts up a little rooty finger and does the little wiggly wabbly wave as they fall back to the ground. And
God.
Lao just blinks. He sighs and he rolls back from where he was at and makes his way over to where Sol was. And under his breath, he just mutters, "Sol, can't you keep your fingers out of things for just 5 minutes?" And he's just gonna follow the paths over to where they last saw Sol.
Yeah, and Aroma is just like, I should have mentioned it before, but the flowers here have quite the unexpected effects. Uh, Me
Well,
and an acquaintance of mine have tried to catalog it, but it seems that more and more effects pop up every time we look away, so
um,
it
that
should
makes
be mostly unharmful, but it is quite unpredictable.
um, as Lao comes up to Aroma saying this, he just kind of blinks and looks up and says, "Well, I mean, considering how much magic there is around here, I'm not particularly surprised that some of the plants that grow here would gain some interesting attributes." And he gives a little smirk and says, "Well, it's not exactly something I'm used to either. It's just, I suppose the setting is a little different, and Sol thinks they can just go boing." And Sol just boings down, touches down in front of them very briefly, looks over, gives another wave, boing, springs off again. And that finishes the sentence with, "Feels they can go a little hog wild and really stretch their legs out. They don't get to do that in the apartment very often." And Sol's just gonna be boinging around now. They're bright and colourful and they can jump real high. They're
Yep.
gonna have some fun.
Yeah, and Aroma's just like, it should be fine. These are not harmful.
Yes, well, I suppose if they will be harmful, well, Sol will find out soon enough and they'll learn the lesson from that, and I'll have to sort them out. And you can roll a quick insight if you want.
Sure. And now that I have Aroma here, level 10, baby. It's like that's a +8. That's a 19. I'll also roll for March.
Cool. Um,
22.
Wow. Okay. So you both get the impression that this is not the first time Lao has had to deal with Sol going off the rails and getting very excitable and getting into things they shouldn't. But March, you actually no, you both get this. Yeah, he says this like both resigned and kind of not quite put upon, but like he's used to this. This is the same old. But
Yep.
there is a very clear tone of fondness in his voice. This is not a problem for him. Having to deal with Soul, being Soul, is not a problem for him.
Oh.
Actually, March, you probably get this more than Aroma because Aroma doesn't know him super well. But March rolled pretty good on the inside with a 22. You can say, March, you probably even tell that Lao is kind of amused by this and a little delighted at the energy that Soul has as they continue to bound around and just look at things and touch things they shouldn't do. Um, and you can also kind of see, what would that be? You can kind of see, you think it's nostalgia a little bit? You think?
Hmm.
It's hard to tell. You just met this guy, but you're pretty sure that's some sort of, like he's remembering something. Um, he's gonna just like shake his head and say, well, best thing to do is to follow them around and make sure they don't get into too much trouble. And whilst they're doing that, I hope you don't mind. And I'm going to roll a d10. That is an 8 for hammer space. And he's going to reach under his blanket again. And he's going to pull out a couple of vials and what looks like some shears. And he's going to look at Aurora and say, now, I understand if you don't want me doing this, and he holds them up and says, but I would greatly appreciate if you wouldn't mind me taking a few snippets and samples.
No, no,
Um,
it is quite all right. Oh, would you like some tea? I have made some tea with the plants in the garden. The less and she gestures at Soul, like this the effects that Soul has. More and more of the strictly helpful some.
Lal's just going to give a. Well, I mean, I don't suppose glowing in the dark or jumping very high are in particularly unuseful. They could be useful in very particular situations. It could be, well, never discount what magic can do. If you have a creative mind, you can put any sort of magical effect to use.
Of course, of course.
And he's also going to ask, "Oh, do you have chai?" As you go to make your tea.
I'm gonna say she does, because Staria doesn't know what that is, because Staria doesn't know shit about tea. But
I
yes,
pat you
she.
so much. And while you're doing that, I'm going to roll a little thing for soul. Actually, I'm going to roll a con save for soul. Or no, just a straight con check, which is. Okay, that's a 12. Cool, cool, cool. Um, so yeah, Soul is boinging. They have been boinging through all this conversation. I just imagine as Soul, as Lao, Aroma, and March have been walking along, Soul has just been bouncing around from tree to tree to bush to tree in a circle around them as they've been walking. And with that 12 con check, they just eventually, with a thump, land behind the group, give themselves a quick shake, and they're fine. They just kind of trot after the group. No longer, actually, they do kind of spring a little bit. They just kind of very lightly on occasion push up, and they go about 5 feet off the floor before coming back down, and trot after, come along,
Honey.
baby,
Baby.
just baby, just
Baby.
baby,
Baby. Love.
baby.
I love them. And I think seeing Lao's immense interest in the tree, Aroma does like step like towards it, and she's just like, I see the heart of the garden caught your interest. Do you do you I am always open to questions if you like.
Oh no, oh no. Um, Give me just a second. I need to see what I'm gonna roll here.
And
Um,
March just sort of like gives her a look, and although she's real kind, you can get the mischievous you can get like a mischievous air on Aroma as she like sort of like ruffles his head and like petals.
oh my word. So I rolled a dirty 20 for a whiz save, but I'm gonna disregard that. For once, I get a good roll, but I'm tossing it aside for the sake of funny, because the minute you say you welcome questions, Lao's eyes just lock onto you, and his pupils blow out like cat size blow out. Like cat has found shiny red light kind of blown out, and he's just gonna inhale a very deep breath. And I'm not going to say the questions he asked because there's probably quite a lot of them, and I'm not sure on the specifics he would ask, but he is essentially just going to fire question after question after question, like where did it come from, how do you look after it, is it in good condition, have there been any attempts to harm this place, how where has it been for the past 25 years, are you okay, also yeah, this place is great, also what kind of tea leaves do you use to brew your tea, such and so on and so on and so on and so on. And
I think
as he
while Lao is like rapid firing questions, Aroma like does a little like like a little hand wave, and from the ground a couple of chairs and like a table like spring up, and it's a rather nice table and chairs, and there's four chairs, even though she's not sure if Sol and Lao can like sit on chairs, but just in case. And she's just like at March, just like I think you should you can grab, can you grab us some tea, darling? I will be quite occupied. And she chuckles, and March is just like, yeah, yeah, I can do that.
oh sorry, just give me a moment, I'm being called.
No, it is the Staria show now. It is just Staria. Hello. So yeah, funny little tree. Uh, sure is a tree.
I'm sorry, I got called away,
Are
but
you
it's good.
good?
It's all good. So if soul, if what's the word? Brain words come now. I step away for a second and everything leaves. If March is gonna be going away, Soul's probably gonna follow after and just kind of like as March is walking along, Soul's just gonna lean their head and neck over March's shoulder and bonk it on their shoulder and just leave it there and keep pace as March is
March,
walking.
March is just like one hand is just like pat on his on Soul's head, and
Um,
as he continues walking.
Before we cut away from then, do you want to roll me a quick perception, please?
Sure,
Okay.
perception. That's
Yeah.
a great roll. 15.
Yeah, that's enough. As you pat, like if you pat the back of their head and ruffle the petals, you do see like a little black and red thing crawling between the petals. And it kind of briefly taps on your hand, and if you're gonna look, there's a little ladybug, just
Ladybug!
sitting, little ladybug just sitting on your hand. And as you look at it, it kind of looks back at you, startles, and heads back into the petals on Sol's head. Um, yeah, now you know they have a little ladybug friend. Um,
Friend.
yeah, just a little friend. But
Friend.
yeah, that's literally what I wanted to get across. Um,
So yeah, we
I
can cut away from March and Soul, because those two are gonna be getting the tea. And are there like specific questions that you want Aroma to answer in character? But like
oh man, I should have prepared some, but me being brain has not prepared any. Um,
Patsu.
I suppose Lau would ask, first of all, where the hell this place has been for the past 25 years.
Well, there has been an incident, to say the least, where Both me and my husband Stoke have been, well, knocked out of commission, to say the least. And as an act of self-defense, due to, due to the garden's two guardians not being able to protect it, the garden went away until Stoke managed till Stoke woke up about a few months ago, and we started getting everything back together.
Okay. Lao at that is gonna he's gonna go from like excited smiling to his smile's gonna just like drop a little bit, and he's gonna tilt his head at you and narrow his eye a little. Um, so you're guardians of this place. Does that mean there's something this place needs to be guarded from?
Not entirely. The heart of the garden, the blooming heart, as we call it, and she gestures at the tree, is is the source of this garden's everything, and we wouldn't want it to be harmed by anyone or anything. Roll me perception on the tree.
Perception on the tree. Cool.
Perception or
Let's see how we go.
investigation, whatever is higher.
They're the
Actually,
same
or
mod.
nature, or nature.
Nature. Nature. 7 plus 6. Wonderful 13. Um,
Okay, I'll say you get it. I'll say you
cool.
can get it. Um, she says wouldn't want the tree to be harmed. You look at the tree, and hey, one of the lower branches has been snapped off with, and the at the end of it there is a sort of blackness, just like tree sap, but it's like pitch black and
Oh,
dried off, but like the tree has not recovered.
ooh. Okay, hang on. Lao's gonna look at that, and then he's gonna glance back at Aroma, and he is going to roll Insight, and that is an 18. He wants to know if she has noticed this. So he's just going to look back and give her a quick glance to see if she knows that branch has been snapped.
From that 18, you know she is perfectly aware, and that, that actually the branch that has been snapped may have been before the garden went went, well, missing.
Hmm. Okay. Now's gonna look between her and the branch, and then nod slowly and look back at her, and he's gonna start by saying, "Well, I'm glad that you and your husband have returned from wherever you had to go in order to recover from whatever happened here." It gives a quick glance to the branch and then back at her, and it says, "It's good to see you back, and I suppose I'm quite glad that you're able to quite glad that you are able to speak with your son so very often." And he's just going to take a sip of his tea.
Did he wait, he said so did he think
Yeah, he just said son. He's just said he's very glad you could speak with your son more often.
and there is okay, roll me insight.
Cool. Don't peck me on this, baby. Not bad. 13 plus 4. That's a good old 17.
Well, I suppose one could say we are quite related in that way.
He's gonna squint at her and be like, Are you not are you not his, and he's just gonna point back to March and then back at the woman and back at March and back to the woman, or where March went from. Are you two not, and is that not, are you not his, are you not his mother then? He's gonna look quite confused.
Not entirely.
Not, in, not entirely Staria!
Heart
Hello?
emoji.
Okay. I'm rolling another insight. That's an 18. That's a 22 total. That's a
Okay,
22 total.
okay, that's a really good roll.
Thank
Hey,
you.
hey. So that branch that has been snapped off, and a branch with flowers and that and something, but there is something interesting, and Aroma just, well, I suppose I should elaborate. 25 years ago, there has been an intruder in the garden which stole a branch from the blooming heart, and, well, you know what happened. And the intruder has, after running away, have, well, I do not know why, but she has created, well, March.
Mm. Lau's gonna kind of lean back in his chair. He has not moved on to the chairs that you have laid out, unfortunately. But he's gonna lean back and he's just gonna kind of rest his hands on his blanket and start plucking a little bit before looking at you and looking at the branch and says, "So, in a way, wait, are you? I'm gonna roll an intelligence check actually." Because come on, lad, put it together. That's a nat 20.
Nice.
Al puts two and two together and he gets a fucking matrix, baby. That's a 22 then.
Yeah,
Now,
so someone stole a branch from the tree, uh, knocked somehow both Aroma, who seems to be a very powerful druid, and her husband, who's most likely as powerful, uh, out, and has created this flower boy, who is now here.
oh my word. See, the thing is, he's putting some shit together here. Um, and he kind of looks back at you. He looks back at you, Aroma, and he says, if what's happened is what I think has happened, then I suppose you're going to be wanting to keep quite a keen eye on March in the future, then, aren't you?
It is quite all right. Matters has been settled, and well, Aroma raises her head up to the sky. May she rest in peace.
Mm. Al's just gonna squint and cock his head a little, and he says, on one hand, I'm glad to hear that the the infiltrator has been dealt with. On the other hand, there is what seems to be a walking, living part of, and gestures towards the tree, and then back at March, or where March is headed, is like, there is a part of them, of that, seemingly walking around outside of the boundaries, outside of where the Guardians can reach, and you seem perfectly fine with this.
March is his own is his own person. And frankly, I could not be prouder of him.
Oh, it's not a matter of not having pride in him. And he's just going to lean back in his chair. It's not a matter of not having pride. I can understand you being, well, proud of a sprout growing tall. And he gives a little grin. I can't say I don't know the feeling. However, can you understand where the concern would be if a part of you just splits off and becomes its own little thing, as it were?
Well,
You wouldn't
yes.
want to keep that close to you.
There is a limit to what one can do to keep uh, everything safe.
Roll me an insight. Roll me an insight,
Sure.
please. Mm.
27.
As you say, there's a limit to what you can do. You can see Lao, his grip on his blanket tightens, and his whole posture kind of his outline, which was getting less and less wispy and light as you've been talking, suddenly solidifies very quickly. Um, as he looks Aroma dead in the eye, and you can tell he disagrees with you, very firmly, on the only so much you can do, and he's just gonna narrow his eyes and tilt his head at you again in the other direction this time and say, "So, I understand wanting them to be their own person, have their own free will. I'm not trying to say you shouldn't do that. But if you cared so much for them, so much about them that you willingly risk let them walking out there and potentially getting hurt, you think it's better for them to live away and not at least nearby where you can keep an eye on them."
Well, ultimately, it is their own choice. March has his own life, and frankly, I was not able to be there for most of it. And March is his own being as well as much as he is a part of this garden.
Mm.
And well, of course I know what it is like when a part of me. The blooming heart is my heart after all.
Oh gosh. Oh man, Staria, dude.
You! I've been
I'm
wanting to
just
do blooming heart lore
I
for
am
so much.
I am just sitting here in stuff you don't know about and I am just screaming.
I am dabbing. You motherfuckers.
Oh my word, okay. Um that was just Lao. I'm gonna go with that insight still. Lao just leans back, and you can tell he used to be very open and incredibly happy and hyper to be here, but as he leans back and his outline solidifies even more, it's gone from light and wispy, like it has thickened, and he's looking dead in the eye, and his hands aren't clenching his blanket anymore, they've loosened, and he's very slowly just laced his fingers together and laid them on the tabletop, and just looks at you and says, "Well, I think on this particular matter, we're going to have to agree to disagree." And, I mean, I don't know if after this, I don't think he's going to ask you any more questions. Like, he's not going to. He's just going to
Aroma.
sit there and look at you.
Aroma does nod, and she just said, My apologies for perhaps not having the right answers.
Give me a moment, I'm rolling something. What are you rolling there? Oh, damn. Cool. That's a +2. Why are all your good rolls coming now? That is a 21 performance.
You want me to roll it
You
contesting insight?
can if you'd like.
Sure. I mean, I do have a +8. Nope.
Oh, damn. Yeah, no. Lao just looks at you and he takes a deep breath and lets it out, and he gives you. He closes his eyes and he gives a little quirk of his beak, opens his eyes, looks back at you. He seems to relax and just say, well, no need for apologies. We are all allowed our own opinions. And I don't know. I don't know what you want to do with this. I don't know what to do with this.
Aroma just says, yes, we are in fact allowed to agree to disagree. But do know, the garden is open anytime you do want to visit.
At that, you see his outline go from thick to slightly thinner, and his shoulders, which had gone quite straight, slump just a little bit. And he nods his head and says, "Yes, I hope this disagreement won't disallow me from being allowed to enter and view this place, because even if we have our disagreements on certain things, there is one thing I can agree on, and it's that this," and he gestures around him, his outline thinning even more as he looks around, and then back at Roman says, "I can agree that this is a wonderful and beautiful place that you have, that you've made, that you've grown, that is your heart, and I would be happy to accept any open invitations you may have and allow me access. Even just to visit, or, well, even just to let Sol romp around a little bit. Peck knows Peck knows they need the exercise. And don't know if there was anything you wanted to do elsewise, Staria, because if not, I was gonna say Sol just comes barging out of the bushes.
Yeah, I think at this point, March and Sol are back. March with the T, Sol with the leaps.
Oh, I was just gonna say I had an idea. Because Sol, without getting the leaves dirty, doesn't actually have a way to carry the leaves.
Oh, I was saying
So
leaps, like
oh,
leaping,
leaps. Oh, right, leaps. Yeah. Never mind.
like
So yeah,
jumping.
March comes back with a lovely tray of tea, and Sol just freaking, you know what? I'm gonna roll an acrobatics. Let's see,
Goodness.
baby. How well do you do? That is a nat 20.
Oh
All the
my
good rolls
god.
are coming in now.
Now all the good
They
rolls.
spring out of the bushes with a hop, skip, and a jump, and they do a backflip and a somersault at the same time. You don't know how they manage this, but they do, and they land light as a feather on one rooty finger in the center of the table. One of their front feet, and their head is facing down, their butt is to the sky, and they just very slowly tilt their neck and head up and look from Lao to Aroma to Lao to Aroma, and they just slink down from that hand
Oh,
onto their front, onto their belly, and with their back legs, they kind of push themselves towards Aroma, and then just thump, thwomp onto their back, legs akimbo, neck all the way back, and their head just tilted towards the sky, like spread cat pose. Hang on.
I think as like Sol like landed, Aroma did like clap with all four hands.
Um, if you're doing that, Sol's gonna look up at her, and you're just gonna hear her as their tail wags against the floor. Where's the picture I want? There's no good picture for what I want to show, but that's okay. I will just have to make do. Um, that'll do it. That'll do it. Right.
Oh my
That's what they
goodness.
do. The head is off the end of the table. Their legs are in the air. Their belly is exposed. They await the patting.
Aroma will pet.
Thump. Increase.
Kisses.
Um,
Baby.
and yeah, they are just a baby. Um, and as you do, you're gonna hear a and Aroma. If you look from Sol's bud of a tail, you're gonna see their tail bud is kind of it's like a mix between like a weird kind of sac and like an actual bud of a flower. You're gonna see that a lot of flowers have just popped out from this bud as they continue to wiggle, and you just keep hearing and yeah, Aroma, a whole junk ton of daisies are popping out of this big little baby's tail. And
Goodness.
Lal's just sitting across the table. He's got one hand covering the top of his beak, eyes closed, as he's just fucking sitting there. He has not responded to this at all. Oh my word.
March is just like distributing the tea.
March dishing out the tea. Thank
Yep,
you, March.
just giving a cup of tea to Aroma, giving a cup of tea to Lao. I'm pretty sure but Sol doesn't drink tea and like getting one cup of tea for himself.
Oh no, you haven't given Sol tea?
I don't know.
Oh,
Does the Sol want tea?
oh dear. Roll me an insight, please.
Like
Um,
if like the are four cups, so like if Sol like gets off the fucking table, March will place a cup of tea on the table.
mean, do you want to try and move Sol? Because they're not going to move unless you do something. Again, belly rubs, they're not going to move.
Marge is just gonna like poke at like Sol's side, just like, we need that table if we want to put tea there.
Please roll persuasion.
Okay, what's my
Please roll persuasion.
persuasion? Pretty sure it's plus 5. This is Aroma's character sheet. Marge's character sheet. Persuasion. That's plus 5. 10.
Sol kind of just looks at you and tilts their head from where it's hanging off the end of the table, and then just flumps their head back down and continues to be petted. Lau, seeing this, is going to just. Sol, would you come here? If you get off the table, I will give you a sip of my tea. How about that? And I'm gonna roll with advantage because, yeah, I'm gonna need that advantage. That is. Oh, where is my sheet? That's a 16 plus 2. Yep, so
I
that's an 18.
I think Marge hearing that Lao is offering Sol tea will also pour a cup of tea to Sol.
Okay.
Just like,
Sol, upon hearing the sloshing of water into a cup, all their legs, where they have been kind of splayed out, suddenly stick up straight in the air. Their head's gonna just poke between their legs, looking at where the teacup is, and you're just going to see them slowly slide back first off the table, their front feet going over their head, and they're just going to kind of back cart themselves off the table and flump onto the ground. And then you're just going to see them spring up, shake their head, trot over to Lao's side, and poof, lay down, plant no style, um, and thump their head onto the table. Um, And as they do so, Lao's just going to reach a hand out and pat them on the head and say, "Yes, yes, I know. Yes, I know. Very good. Well done." You're just going to hear more coming from the tail. I will also say, once they have slid off, Aroma, there's just like a trail of daisies just across the table from where you're sitting.
aw, cute. Aroma will chuckle
Yeah,
at that and like,
that's what's going to happen there.
and she will take a sip. At least you think she takes a sip. She puts she puts the cup of tea under her like veil of
Like,
flowers that like surrounds her whole head. And you think she's taking a sip. You don't know.
I mean, Lao's not gonna look like it's rude. It's rude to stare at people once they're drinking stuff, and also like he's not gonna try. He's gonna pay attention to his cup of tea, and he's gonna have a good sip, and you're just gonna hear a coming from the cup as Sol picks up just one of their roots and sticks it in the teacup straight away and just slurps. They don't seem bothered by the heat. They just slurp it.
March is like drinking his own tea, and you can tell that there is also an unopened bag of tea that he has uh taken but is like on the plate but like untouched.
Hmm. Lao is gonna be looking at that.
You
Once
can
he's finished.
ask.
Yeah, I was gonna say once he finishes his first sip and just kind of pumps it down, he's gonna turn towards March. March, thank you for bringing us the tea, but what exactly is that? And he's just gonna point to the middle.
Oh, and like I well, my brother likes drinking tea quite a bit, so I will whenever I visit here, I'll take some tea bags back for him.
Just nods and is like, yes, that's understandable, I suppose. It's always good to bring things back to family. It's it's a well, if that's what they like, if that's what he likes, then I suppose that's what you should bring back. It's if you get the opportunity. Um, um, um. He's just gonna sip his tea. And he's gonna. Sorry, give me a moment. My brain's trying to think. Um, he's just gonna say, this tea is actually quite good. I'm not used to having. Well, actually, no, that's a lie. I do tend to make my own blends. I have what's the word? I have star anise. I have cinnamon groves. I have a few what's the word? Ginger as well. I tend to make my own teas on occasion. It's a lot better than buying them store bought, at least. It's I don't know. Freshness is far preferred than packaging, I find. Um, and you can roll an insight on him if you want.
Sure, I can roll insight from both Aroma and March. That's Aroma. Oh my god. I forget how high Aroma's mod is. And a 12 for March.
Oh, it's obvious, so you both see it. Lao's just incredibly awkward. Like, March, you just see that Lao's just kind of, again, he's kind of picking at his blanket and, like, just sort of, like, got one finger on the rim of the mug and just kind of tapping it on occasion. Roma, you look at this man and, oh, you can tell this man is not used to small talk. He does not know what to say. He does
Mm.
not know what to say or how to act or what to do. He is just kind of trying to occupy himself by petting Soul and drinking tea. He does not know. He does not know how to speak small talk to people.
Oh goodness. Wow, darling.
Look, he's not used to small talk.
Yeah,
That's
when you're
not his.
mean to all of your friends, yeah.
Look, I can't tell you why. That might come up at a later point, but I'm not telling you why now. You just
Goodness.
gotta wait. You gotta fucking
Um,
wait.
I think March saying the awkwardness, probably a little bit misinterpreting it as oh goodness, what did you two talk about? And he just like at Aroma just like what did you two what did you two talk about? And Aroma just like oh, nothing much, just a little bit of history and you know. I told him about the incident with Laurel. March just like gives her a flat look. Of course you did. And she just like chuckles a bit.
Oh gosh, Lao is just sitting there looking between the both of them like, is this shit gonna start family drama? Should I be here? Do I need to go? Because
And March is just like, it's fine. It's fine. It's in the past.
Lao's just gonna kind of nod his head and take another sip of his tea and just say, right, yes, of course, it's in the past, right? Of course, and it's just, I'm really sorry, Staria. He's not gonna know what to say. He doesn't know what to do.
God, we're saving on every lore trap on for Lao, aren't we? God,
Yeah, I'm so sorry, man. Look, you have learned
don't be.
more
It's
about Lao in this
great.
one PS than I have actually gotten to people. You're getting all the Lao lore. Well, you're getting a chunk at least.
Hee hoo, motherfuckers.
Very fucking hee
And you got some March lore, and while like most of it has been revealed in Garden Wonders, he who,
very fucking hee
yeah.
I don't know if there was anything else you wanted to do, because we have been going for quite a while.
Yeah, we have been going for. Oh, we've been going for 2 hours now. Yeah, I think we
Yeah.
can. We can end things here now. Here, and I can't stress this enough. Who? Thank you, Liz.
Thank you, Liz. We love
Yeah,
you, and Rob, and Wick. Thank you for listening in, both of you. It's been
yeah.
fucking
Thank you very
delightful.
much. And thank you, too, for letting me do this. Thank you. For
Thank
being
you.
my he who funky FPS partner, and looks at the lore that I accidentally got. Yeah.
Thank you for grabbing me and letting me play with you. It has been fun. Lau has had an interesting time. Lore came out. I did not think would come out, but I'm also kind of glad it's finally out. At least a little bit. At least like a little trickle.
I have
But
some
man,
fucking theories.
I might have to talk to you after this for a few reasons, but don't worry about
Cool.
that.
Cool.
Thank you,
I'm looking forward to it.
thank you everyone for listening. Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Rick. You've both been wonderful people watching us just sort of poke each other with lore sticks.
Yeah, and
And
thank you,
thank you.
everyone who's gonna be listening in the future. Love y'all.
Love
Uh,
you all.
and I think we can say goodbye here. Goodbye, everybody. Bye.
Bye, farewell.
Woo.